Hello and welcome to another installment of Metallic Reviews, the show where I take an honest look at the harder, heavier side of music and give it an honest rating. After about a month or so, Metallic Reviews is finally back in video form. Yes, the old computer, which had been on the blink for a very, very long time, is finally working once again, and we're going to be kicking off July with a power metal band from the one Scandinavian country whose overwhelming metallic contributions have absolutely nothing to do with black metal. That would be Sweden, and it's going to be their power metal veterans Bloodbound and their new one, Tales from the North, out July 7th on AFM Records. Now, AFM are well known for their extensive roster of these more traditionally heavy metal outfits, power metal, thrash metal, and the like. You're not going to find any of the more extreme genres on here. Bands like Onslaught, Flotsam and Jetsam, Ross the Boss, Solution 45, and others all call this label home. Now for Bloodbound, it's their 7th voyage on this label and their 10th record overall. How they do? Let's jump in and see. The overall aesthetic of this album, it's not very different from others in the genre. It comprises big sounds, big songs, and an overall epic feel. With a decided ear for Swedish folklore and mythology, Bloodbound guides the listener on a journey featuring many mentions of things like ships, oars, Norse gods, Asgard, Valhalla, and things that have become mainstream ever since Chris Hemsworth picked up a hammer and became Thor. Anywho, they do so in a musical package that pays a lot of homage to bands like Helloween, Blind Guardian, and Stratovarius. So it's definitely not the most original album ever, but that doesn't necessarily make it bad. In fact, the actual record speaks to a bit of the contrary. It's a good, solid power metal album with all the hallmarks put in just the right spots. Guitarists Tomas and Henrik Olsen do enough to pull the listener in and implant all the earworms you'd come to expect from a record like this. They're joined by a rhythm section comprised of bassist Anders Broman and drummer Daniel Hansfeldt. Now, as with most power metal releases, the bass is almost non-existent and the drums are mixed very high in the mix, driving the entire record forward. Then you have keyboardist Fredrik Berg, who, in an odd departure from genre norms, is almost an accent piece. There's not really any of the elongated, sweeping keyboard work on here. It's just really more staccato and put in different spots. Finally, vocalist Patrick J. Celebi offers a performance that Michael Kiske and Tobias Sammet would both be very proud of. On the positive side of things, the record is just a ton of fun to sit down and just jam to. You know, oftentimes we as metal fans get caught up in the gruff, the heavy, and the musically morbid. There's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but you know, a good old power metal release is a great break from all of that. This is no exception, and with the typical power metal themes being eschewed in favor of something more grounded in a very interesting cultural reality, Tales from the North offers a unique view on the genre as a whole. Gone are the dragons, swords, sorcery, and the like, and in its place is this Norse-inspired tapestry that, while not the richest in terms of lyrics, it definitely works in the album's favor. I also love the record's willingness to stick within its parameters. Sometimes power metal releases will try too hard to be musically impressive. Here, it's just a bunch of guys absolutely jamming their heads off, and I'm kind of here for it. Again, it just feels like they're having a blast putting this record together, and it bleeds over into the project itself. They're not going to win any awards. Let's just say that. They won't win any awards from any major or minor publications. But as far as quote-unquote cheesy metal is concerned, I've heard way, way worse. On the downside, some courses are more memorable than others. For instance, the title track and Odin's Prayer have far more fascinating musicality than Mimir's Crystal Eye and The Raven's Cry. This actually ties into my next negative. The lack of keyboards. This is a power metal album, and I'd like to see more involvement from this instrument. I do appreciate, again, their willingness to kind of take that bit of convention that some might feel is overused and throw it away, but there are certain things in this world that just don't need to be messed with. Having keys as a foreground staple of power metal is one of those things. They kind of messed with it, and it kind of doesn't work. But overall, Bloodbound have released a good power metal album. It's not a totally great one, yet it's more than listenable. There's a ton of fun to be found here, and honestly, it's a great distraction from the heavier stuff in the metal world. Some loose ends do need a little tying up, but I'd spin it again. It gets a 4 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to click like and please subscribe for more Metallic reviews. Next time, we're going to be heading for Great Britain and taking a huge swing away from power metal and diving into the weather-beaten realms of thrash as we examine Evile's new album, The Unknown. I hope you join me. You've been watching Metallic Reviews, where I give honest ratings to honest music, and I will see y'all next time.